Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So according to a coworker of 30-year-old James Bonet, or Bonet, not sure how you pronounce his last name, of New York, he regularly talked about conspiracy theories, including his belief that the 2020 election was stolen. So it came as no surprise to his coworker that Bonet, which is what I'm going to call him, shared videos on Facebook on January 6th. The video showed him inside Senator Jeff Merkley's office. He was smoking weed. And in Bonet's video, he could be heard chanting, quote, "our house," that he was doing that with the mob. And he was heard saying, quote, "we made it in the building, bitches. We're taking it back." Bonet also shared photos on Facebook with one caption, quote, "right in the doorsteps. This is our house. We will take it back." So Bonet was arrested on January 27th, and he was originally charged with the standard 4 misdemeanors that you guys have heard me repeat ad nauseum: entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and 1 count of parading or demonstrating in a Capitol building. However, there was a superseding indictment that was filed on June 2nd, and that added the felony charge of obstructing an official proceeding. So Bonet was facing up to 20 years in prison, and he therefore entered into a plea agreement in October, seeing that things were only getting worse for him. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of entering a restricted building or grounds. Again, that's only a misdemeanor. So that dropped his maximum potential sentence down to 1 year and up to $100,000 in fines. And Bonet had 1 previous conviction on his record. In 2014, he was convicted for possession of marijuana. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation for that crime. However, they didn't seem to factor that in. The prosecutors didn't seem to use that in their sentencing request. So they were asking the judge for only 45 days in jail. Of course, his defense attorney was asking for probation only. In court, the prosecutor argued that Bonet's videos and actions showed, quote, "more than callousness. It was a show of power. It was saying, we've taken control. We can come into the Capitol and do whatever we want." Bonet's attorney tried to explain that her client wound up at the Capitol after a long history of skepticism, which began with his suspicions about the United States food pyramid. You guys probably remember this. This is food pyramid guy. So for my international viewers, I'll briefly explain. Here in the US, our government, more specifically the USDA, issues annual recommendations, annual guidelines for what they believe to be the most balanced and healthy diet. It used to be in the shape of a pyramid. And so they had the most unhealthy foods at the top, which indicated that they should be consumed only sparingly, right? And then the things at the bottom of the pyramid, you're supposed to consume more often. Some of the things at the bottom, I absolutely disagree with. One of them is dairy. And in recent years, they changed this to my plate. So instead of a pyramid, it's now a plate, which makes far more sense. But anyway, Bonet said he started to question the government after he removed carbs, dairy, and sugar from his diet, and he lost 150 pounds. Just a side note for everyone, from someone who's actually certified in vegan and integrative nutrition: don't cut out carbs, people. They're literally what allows your brain to function, which clearly this guy needs. So just make it whole carbohydrates, not the refined white carbohydrates that contain 0 fiber. And basically they're like eating sugar. So eat whole grain bread, whole grain rice, whole grain pasta, not the white stuff, not white pasta, not the enriched stuff. So he briefly spoke at his sentencing hearing. He told the judge that he had set a bad example for his nieces and nephews. And he told the judge that his previous comments were incorrect because he no longer believes that, quote, cops are pieces of shit or anything. That was his quote. Dear Lord. In addition to this great impression that Bonet made, his attorney seemed to really piss the judge off. In court, Bonet's attorney noted that Trump told his supporters to, quote, fight like hell, which he did. And then she started reading this lengthy portion of Trump's January 6th speech. So the judge stepped in and stopped her. He interrupted her mid-sentence and appeared to be pretty annoyed. So this was U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan, and he's been one of the tougher ones. He said to her, quote, his defense is saying, I marched on the Capitol because my former president made me do this. Is that what you're saying? So Lisa Pebbles is Bonet's defense attorney. She said, oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. He wouldn't try to blame Trump for January 6th. So Judge Sullivan asked, quote, then why are you arguing that on his behalf? So she seemed to realize at that point she was headed down the wrong path. She was pissing him off. So Pebbles changed course. And then she told the judge that Bonet had a, quote, transformation after his arrest. She said he stopped smoking weed, he went back to school, he took up jujitsu. But Judge Sullivan basically at that point just wasn't having it. He called Bonet and his attorney out on their BS. He sniped back at the attorney and he said, quote, when did this transformation happen? After the interview? So this is really good. The interview to which he's referring apparently took place in January of this year. And Bonet did not do himself any favors. Basically, he proved that he really needs to get back on carbs. Bonet was interviewed by an ABC affiliate in New York. And remember, this was several months after he pleaded guilty. So during that interview with the ABC affiliate, Bonet called January 6th a, quote, peaceful protest. This is shortly before his sentencing and after he pleaded guilty. And then he was still in that interview claiming that cops let him into the building. So Judge Sullivan just unloaded on Bonet and he told him, quote, at 30 years of age, it's time to wake up and smell the roses. I'm pretty sure the saying is coffee, but I'll allow that to stand because the judge did sentence Bonet to twice the amount of time that the prosecutors had requested. He gave Bonet 90 days in jail, also 1 year of probation and 200 hours of community service. He ordered him also to pay a $500 restitution fee. And yeah, this should be the standard. This should be the set sentence for all nonviolent January 6th defendants. You know, although I'd like to see a longer probationary period just to keep an eye on them through the next presidential election, I'll take it. I'll take this. So good on the judge for calling him out on his bullshit and showing that there are consequences for trying to play the court and for these crimes. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.